Meet Hun Sen, Cambodia's prime minister. Just last week, he celebrated his 33rd year in power, and in July, he will face his 6th election. After losing a significant share of the vote to the opposition in 2013, he and his ruling party, the CPP, are no longer leaving much to chance. In the last few months, they have systematically silenced their critics and the news outlets carrying their messages. In August, a dozen radio stations, still a significant medium for those in the countryside, had their licenses suspended for carrying programs produced by US government-funded broadcasters RFA, Radio Free Asia, and VOA, Voice of America.
Radio, especially Radio Free Asia or other independent radio, contribute significantly to the result of the elections in Cambodia. We report the truth, and the truth really hurts the government. We broadcast, for example, about deforestation, and those businessmen who are conducting the deforestation are the children, nephews, nieces of the government official, and that really make the government really unhappy with us.
They saw them as a media that support the opposition party. These kinds of media bring a lot of things against the prime minister, against his power, against his interests, and of course they broadcast a lot of true, political sedation. So to disconnect those people from the radio is a significant thing.
And it's not just radio. In September, the Cambodia Daily, a newspaper known for its fervent criticism of the government, was forced to print its final pages. Journalists believe it's their content the authorities are taking issue with, but the government is sticking to its line.
Look, the case of the Cambodia Daily or Radio Free Asia, they not abide by the law of the sovereign state. They not pay tax. And if you live in a civilized nation, tax evasion is a crime.
Trumped-up tax charges, closures, suspensions, these are just some of the tactics in Hun Sen's media playbook. The arrests of numerous reporters, usually on charges of treason or attempts to overthrow the government, has forced many journalists to flee the country and scared those who remain into silence. Case in point, a journalist we spoke to at the Phnom Penh Post, one of the few remaining outlets that still offers criticism of the government. The Post consistently calls the current situation a media crackdown. But once in front of our camera, the reporter whose identity we chose to disguise told a different story.
Cambodia, I think, is a fierce country on the media.
It's evident that there is some degree of self-censorship being practiced at the moment, because the Phnom Penh Post, of course, knows that it's fully possible that its operations will be made to stop as well.
And it isn't just those inside Cambodia. Hun Sen's scare tactics have proven effective well beyond the country's borders. Even interviewees we approached outside Cambodia were very reluctant to speak to us.
Cambodia is going through a huge transformation at the moment, and we just don't know yet where the lines will be drawn between what can be said and what can not be said. And in that situation, the most rational thing to do is to be very cautious. People at the moment are just sort of holding their breath.
If you dare to criticize the government, or you dare to speak the truth, you have to leave the country for fear of arrest and persecution. I myself have to leave the country, and the government issue arrest warrant against me. I cannot return to Cambodia.
With the space for traditional media shrinking, one online platform has offered an alternative: Facebook. A recent study by the Asia Foundation found that the network has, since 2016, become Cambodians' go-to source for the news. But in October last year, Facebook chose Cambodia as one of 6 countries to participate in an experiment, in which content from news publishers was pushed away from people's news feeds into a separate Explore section, unless they were prepared to pay to promote it. The effect was tangible.
When Facebook rolled out its Explorer experiment in October, people were very concerned. The fear was that you would have a very biased situation where most independent media would be pushed onto the Explore field, and then other media, perhaps with the financial resources, would still be able to put their contents on the news feed.
The Facebook Explorer feed really affect our show, affect our reach to Cambodian audience. Anything we post on our page, it doesn't show to regular account. We have seen decrease in the number of people following our news.
The Facebook experiment played right into the hands of the Prime Minister, who seemed set on taking down all US-funded media outlets from the outset. Ever since the 2013 election, his party has accused these outlets of being part of an American conspiracy to topple the government. The irony is, the CPP has long been dependent on the US for aid. But those funds come with strings attached, preserving media freedoms, for example, not freedoms Hun Sen has been particularly happy to embrace.
The government never, value the democracy. They never value freedoms of media and press. They just value power. So election democracy is just only a game to attract for an age only. It's not a real commitment to democracy.
A commitment to democracy that Prime Minister Hun Sen no longer needs to comply with, thanks to a willing new partner, China.
When he closed down Cambodia, Delhi, and threat at the media, he kept raising the relationship he had with China. Probably the government tried to send a message to the US government that I'm not afraid of you, you are not my boss. This is my country.
I think the message is very clear. The Cambodian government has broken with the West, basically. They've broken with 2 decades of Western efforts to implant liberal democracy in the country. Cambodia's turn away from the West has been enabled by China's full political and economic support.
I think this argument is just childish. If you don't want to play with me, I play with others. I just want to clarify on this because a lot of people, they misunderstood this. If you are a leader of a country, like I said, you want to have a good friend with the US, you also want to have a good friend with China.
But if China's own record on press freedom is anything to go by, the new relationship between Phnom Penh and Beijing does not bode well for the Cambodian journalists silenced and the media outlets shut down. And voters in the run-up to a crucial election are getting less and less news and information, just the way Hun Sen likes it.